Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Sunday service for August 16th. And last week we had a wonderful talk by Reverend Marjorie Brock on these wonderful bodies that we have. And she shared how our bodies are meant to heal and to improve no matter what our age. So today I would like to jumpstart off of that to begin my talk about true fasting. And I want to begin with physical fasting. And this is not a talk on that, but it's just a quick summary on what fasting does for our body and how fasting heals the physical form. So, most of you have heard about how fasting does help our bodies to cleanse, to get healthier, and all of that. So, if you're wondering about how long you should fast, if you're fasting for like 4 hours, up to 4 hours after eating, it's really not a fast, but there you go. You're primarily using energy from your recent meal. Insulin is pretty high, glucose is available, your body's storing some extra energy as glycogen and fat. But then if we jump to 4 to 12 hours, that's when insulin falls. And glucogen, which is extra glucose stored in the liver and muscles, it rises. Your liver starts releasing this stored glycogen to maintain blood glucose. But then from 12 to 18 hours, the liver glycogen is getting substantially depleted, and your body begins to rely on the fatty acids for energy, and ketone production starts rising. And ketones are what the liver converts some fatty acids into and begin increasingly noticed about 8 to 12 hours of fasting. And that's a period of time when you can actually start burning more fat than you are living off the foods you just ate. 18 to 24 hours, the metabolic shift toward fat becomes more pronounced. So if you try to go a whole 24 hours of fasting, you're actually getting your body to use more of its fat storage than before. But if you go 24 to 48 hours, fat oxidation and ketone production really increase. And then 48 to 72 hours, your body really adapts to using fats and ketones and still making glucose for tissues that require it. And yes, our brains require glucose in order to function. So the bottom line is, if we fast for 12 to 18 hours, our bodies begin using the fat storage for energy, and our bodies begin to release some of the toxicities that they're holding on to. Now, there's a lot going around about intermittent fasting, and that falls into this 12 to 18-hour period to not only lose weight, but also to begin the process of letting go of the physical toxicity that our bodies are holding. So the question is, if our bodies can be moved to releasing physical toxicity, can our spiritual selves be moved to release other toxic energy? And of course, the answer is yes. From Unity and a New Thought perspective, fasting is much more than an outward discipline. True fasting is actually a spiritual activity of consciousness. It's the process of releasing anything that blocks our awareness of the divine presence within us. And this is not about punishment. It's not about proving our holiness. It's not about convincing God to save us, because we are already saved. We're already loved. We're already wonderfully accepted as we are. God is already present. God is already expressing as life, intelligence, love, wisdom, abundance, all of it within us. True fasting is simply the practice of removing the distractions that prevent us from realizing the truth. It's about making room for a greater awareness of God. So let's go back to the physical aspect of fasting. The body is a sacred expression of divine intelligence. In unity, we recognize that the body is not something separate from spirit. It's an expression of the life of God moving through us. The body has its own wisdom. It knows how to heal. It knows how to restore balance. It knows how to renew itself. Yet in our modern world, many people live in a state of constant consumption. We consume food, we consume information, we consume entertainment, we consume stimulation. We rarely experience true stillness. Fasting offers the body a sacred pause. When we temporarily step away from constant eating, we give our physical system an opportunity to rest and restore. Now, many people practice forms of fasting because they find it supports healthier habits, greater awareness of our hunger and our fullness. It creates actually a greater relationship with food and a greater sense of physical balance. The purpose of physical fasting is not to reject the body, because the body is not our enemy. The body is a temple of the living spirit within us. And the purpose of physical fasting is to bring our physical nature into harmony with our spiritual nature. Fasting reminds us that we are not controlled by every impulse. We are spiritual beings having this beautiful human experience. We have desires, but we're greater than our desires. We experience cravings, but we're not defined by our cravings. We have thoughts, but we're not limited by every thought. And through fasting, whether it's physical, emotional, spiritual, we're practicing conscious living. And one of our greatest gifts of fasting is awareness. So many times we do things automatically. We eat just because the food's there, even though we're not hungry. We react without thought. We speak without considering the power of our words. We allow habits to govern us. And fasting creates a holy pause. And within that pause, we begin to see ourselves more clearly. And in this case, fasting from just spitting out some random words as a reaction to people instead of pausing to have a response, that's fasting. Because in doing that, we start to notice our patterns, we notice our attachments, we notice where we seek comfort outside of ourselves. And this awareness is not meant to create guilt. The awareness is the doorway to transformation. In unity, we do not begin with the belief that we are flawed. We begin with the truth that we are expressions of God. We are spiritual beings wakening up to our divine nature. And fasting helps clear away the thoughts and habits that hide this awareness. It's like cleaning a window. The sunlight is always shining. The divine presence was always there within us. The cleaning simply allows more light to come in. The deeper meaning of fasting is found in the relationship between our outer life and our inner consciousness. Jesus said, "Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God." And of course, in unity teachings, you are that aspect of God. And this teaching actually comes from a profound truth. Human beings have physical needs, but we also have spiritual needs. The body hungers for food, for nourishment. The soul hungers for meaning. The mind wants truth. The spirit wants conscious union with God. And many people spend their lives trying to satisfy a spiritual hunger with material things. They think fulfillment comes through whatever they're achieving in the world, through their possessions, through recognition, through approval, through constant activity. But eventually they discover that nothing outside of themselves can completely satisfy the deepest longing of the soul. The soul wants to know, I am one with God. I am loved completely. I'm guided by divine wisdom. I am an expression of infinite life. And true fasting brings us back to this realization. So, what is the highest reason to fast spiritually? The highest reason is not merely self-control. It's not simply discipline. It's not even personal improvement. The highest reason for spiritual fasting is to remove whatever stands between our human consciousness and the complete awareness of our divine identity. The greatest fast is a fast of thought from separation. We fast from the belief that we are alone. We fast from the illusion that we are powerless. We fast from fear. We fast from resentment. We fast from judgment. We fast from thoughts and feelings of limitation. We fast from false thoughts that tell us we are anything less than the beloved expression of God. And this is true inner fast. Fasting from fear is one of the greatest things that we can do. Fear tells us that there's not enough, that I'm not enough, that I can't handle it, that the future is uncertain. But faith reveals a higher truth. God is my source. Wisdom guides through me. Infinite life supports me. I'm never separated from the presence of God, which is the absolute truth. And when we fast from fear, we're not denying life's challenges. We simply refuse to let fear become our master. So we replace fear with faith. We replace anxiety with trust. We replace uncertainty with the awareness of divine presence. So, what about fasting from negative thinking? Unity teaches that consciousness is creative. All of our thoughts are powerful. And the thoughts we repeatedly entertain shape our experience. Therefore, one of the greatest spiritual fasts is fasting from thoughts that do not express truth. We fast from the statement, I cannot, I am alone, I will never change, there is no hope. All of those statements get thrown into the wastebasket and we let them go. And instead, we start affirming, I'm guided by divine wisdom. I'm filled with the life of God. I'm capable through the power of spirit within me. I'm open to new possibilities. And this is not pretending that challenges do not exist. It's choosing to see challenges through the eyes of faith. And another powerful spiritual fast is releasing resentment. Resentment is like carrying a heavy burden and hoping someone else becomes tired. It drains our energy. It disturbs our peace. It keeps us connected to sometimes very painful experiences long after they've passed. Forgiveness is actually a sacred fast. We stop feeding the memory of hurt. We stop giving yesterday authority over today. Forgiveness does not mean we approve of harmful actions. It means we choose freedom, we choose peace, we choose love. Jesus gave important guidance about fasting. He taught that fasting should not be performed for recognition. Spiritual practices aren't meant to impress others. They're meant to transform our own consciousness. A person may fast from food and yet still remain attached to pride. A person might follow religious practices and still carry a lot of anger and judgment. The true measure of fasting is not what we give up. The true measure is what we awaken. Do we become more loving, more peaceful, more compassionate, more aware of God's source within us, as us, around us? And that is the purpose. And while we may do a physical fast that can last for a day or several days or whatever, the spiritual practice of fasting is something that we practice every moment. Every time we choose love over anger, we're fasting. Every time we choose faith instead of fear, we're fasting. We're fasting from the fear. Every time we choose forgiveness instead of resentment, we're fasting from resentment. Every time we choose silence and instead of unnecessary criticism, we're fasting. Every time we choose gratitude instead of complaint, we're fasting. So a true fast is a daily movement of consciousness. It's the turning away from what limits us and the turning toward what reveals God, source within us. So, what is true fasting? True fasting is not simply the absence of food, the absence of a thought, it's the presence of awareness. It's not simply giving something up, it's receiving something greater. It's not about becoming worthy of God's love. It's about awakening to the truth that we have always been loved. The physical fast renews and restores the body. The mental fast renews and restores consciousness. The spiritual fast renews our awareness of God. And the highest purpose of fasting is union. To know that the spirit within us is the same spirit that moves through all creation. To know that we are never separate from divine love. To know that wherever we are, God is. So we practice the true fast, not only by what we believe, but by what we allow to emerge. We release fear, discover faith. We release limitation and discover possibility. We release separation and discover oneness. We make room for the eternal truth that God is within me, within each of us, and is expressing through me. God is my life, my strength, my peace, and my source. So let's take a moment for a short meditation. I invite you to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and as you let it out, become comfortable in the chair, the couch, or whatever you're sitting on. And allow yourself to become centered. Just release all the concerns for the moment. And know that you're not trying to bring God closer because God is already here. And you can say to yourself, God is the presence within me, the life within my body, the wisdom within my mind, the love within my heart. And you can silently affirm, I am one with the presence of God. I am one with the presence of God. I am one with the presence of God. And as you just sit there, feel the quiet strength of that truth. Breathe in peace and breathe out tension. Breathe in love and breathe out fear. Breathe in divine wisdom and breathe out doubt. And now imagine a gentle light within your heart. This light is not something you create. It's the light of spirit that has always been within you. And allow that light to expand through your mind, through your body, through your relationships, through your entire life. And just rest in the awareness. I am an expression of God. God is my life. God is my strength. God is my peace. And then just take a deep breath in and relax even more as you breathe out. And just remain in this awareness for a few moments. And I invite you to carry these affirmations with you. I release anything that blocks my awareness of God. I am free from fear because divine love is within me. I trust the wisdom of spirit guiding my life. My body is a temple of divine life. I honor my body with love and respect. I'm not controlled by thoughts or impulses. I choose consciously. I release resentment and welcome forgiveness. I release limitation and open myself to infinite possibility. I am filled with peace, strength, and wisdom. God is expressing through me now. And so it is. Amen. And thank you all for joining with us today. God bless and have a beautiful week. Take care.